All right. We are back with our last team. And I would love to say not least, but they might be the least of the East. Because they were last year. 3-14. Of course, we talking about the New York Football Giants. Um, only got them at 5.5. Might be a little low for my G man. Don't think it's gonna be that bad, but they do have an uphill climb to make. We showed you the other three teams, and given the position they were in last year, the New York Giants definitely had to make some changes. So the biggest one there on the screen, that is Mr. Russell Wilson. Had to switch it up at the quarterback position. Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and the bunch wasn't getting it done. So they went out and get Russell Wilson. They draft Jackson Dart. And now we are looking for a new start in New York. Dable's still there though. So I mean confidence wise, you want to see more out of Brian Dable. Given this record and given the past 2 seasons have been a colossal failure, but it's not all bad for the Giants, and they do have an opportunity to get better here, to make some improvements, and we're gonna look at the offseason, but like we do with every team, New York Giants no different. We got to go back and we got to take and see what happened with this team last year. Why were they so bad? To be honest, that's what the fans want to know. Why were the New York Giants so bad? We all Giants fans here, so this one should be pretty smooth for us. Why were the New York Giants so bad last year? Before we get into what they did in the offseason and if they can get improved. 5.5, the bar's low. Talk to me, fellas.
Well, last year we were 3-14, and why we were so bad is because we were just bad. We had bad coaching, bad preparation, bad scheme, bad quarterback play, bad receiver play, bad play calling. We were just bad. We were just a bad team. We were terrible. I think Brian Dable calling the plays, you could say sabotage to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones didn't do himself no favors. It was just weird last year. It was horribly weird. The best thing we had smoking was Malik Neighbors. If it wasn't Malik Neighbors, it was nothing really on offense. And I think the defense just tired out. Now, I will say this. We were leading the league in sacks for like the first 6 weeks, and then it just tailed off once Dexter Lawrence got hurt. And then we just had bad quarterback play after quarterback play. Like, we didn't even start Drew Lock before we started Tommy DeVito last year. That was crazy. And you signed Drew Lock and hyped him up and didn't even play him. Like, we had a bunch of things going wrong with this organization. I just think this organization in general needs a leader. It just needs a leader. And Brian Dable, after that very first year, has shown that he's not been a great leader for this team. And it shows on the field. It shows with undisciplined plays, false starts, holdings, illegal man down the field, drop passes, bad throws, misreads, missed tackles. It's like you could go on and on and on about this team, man. But hey, look, I had enough time talking about how bad we were. Cave, talk to him, man.
Man, last year felt like we were living in a twilight zone, man. It was a tale of Murphy's Law. Whatever could go wrong, did go wrong from the very start. In the beginning of the season, the offensive line played great and stuff like that for the first 4 games. And then Andrew Thomas got hurt, and that's when everything started going off the rails. Andrew Thomas gets hurt. Then on the defensive side, Dexter Lawrence gets hurt, and before you know it, everything just snowballed after that. Theo Johnson gets hurt. Other people got hurt. It was just I just couldn't, like I said, during the games last year, it was like kind of nauseating, and sometimes it's like you couldn't even believe it. But you're not going to win too many games scoring like about 9 points or 10 points a game. You're not going to beat nobody doing that. Our offense was hideous. Teams was playing bracket coverage on us every single game, man. It's just like, we was just used to just check downs and dump off passes and stuff like that. You're not going to win games like that. You got to have a vertical game. You got to go downfield. You got to run the ball. I mean, one of the key bright spots was, Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy last year. Those rookies really stepped up and, gave people something to watch and, gave us hope. But other than that, the coaching was poor. The quarterback play was poor last year and stuff like that. So it was just like a big snowball effect. And that's why in this offseason, hopefully it's a different outcome, like I said, going into this year, man. And, hey, we'll see if the Giants can turn around with what's going on. But like I said, last year was a nightmare, man. And I'm glad it's over with now. So hopefully we woke up from it and we just going to have a different outcome now. But I'll let Coach see what he saw last year.
All right. Sorry about that. Thanks a lot. Points scored, 31st. Points, yards, 30th. Pass yards, 28th. Pass touchdowns, 32nd. Pass interceptions, 21st. Rush yards, 23rd. Rush touchdowns, 20th. This is ineffective, inefficient, abysmal, undigestible offense. Then if you go to defensive rank, points scored, 21st. Total yards, 24th. Pass yards, 8th. Pass touchdowns, 9th. Pass interceptions, 31st. Rush yards, 27th. Touchdowns, 18th. The defense got tired, like Pat said earlier, because the offense was going 3 and outs consistently, was ineffective. The only thing you really had was Malik Neighbors and a little bit of Tyrone Tracy. And if you don't have the players, if you don't have the playmakers, if you don't have the leadership, your defense is going to wear down. You would say, oh, well, you had great pass yards and touchdowns. Well, that's because teams were just running on us because couldn't stop them in the run. There was no need to pass. There was no need to go for touchdowns because you would get them on the ground, or the offense would just give you the ball in good positions and the opposition did their dirt. But that's enough for me complaining. Going to turn it back over to NYG. You got it, bro. Take it lead.
All right. Let's take a look at the key losses. God knows they had enough losses last year, on the field at least. But off the field, I will say they ain't missing a whole lot. Azeez Ojulari, kind of talked about him in the Philadelphia Eagles episode, but I mean, when you see who they bought in, I think they can handle that loss. Darren Waller is interesting, folks. Darren Waller comes out of retirement and then gets traded to the Dolphins. And the only reason I got this highlighted as kind of a key loss is because, one, it kind of is an indictment on your team. Like, the cat would rather retire than play for you. And the second part of it is it ain't like you're loaded at the tight end position. Theo Johnson coming off an injury. Daniel Bellinger has been underperforming. And you got Thomas Fadone, who you just drafted. Isaiah Simmons, Adoree Jackson, Jason Pinnock, the rest of these guys, to me. But y'all have at it. Who y'all got as the key loss for our G-Men? Talk to
me. Key loss I got is Azeez Ojulari, man. When Azeez Ojulari was healthy, man, he was effective when it came to the pass rush. He was averaging like almost a sack a game. That does hurt your team tremendously when it comes to edge rush presence. A backup edge rusher that can average a sack a game, that means he's doing his job. It's just that he continued to get hurt, and that really hurt him. Pun intended, you know what I'm saying? So Azeez Ojulari is the biggest loss that the Giants had this past offseason. They didn't have many losses. You could say Jason Pinnock, a box safety. Darren Waller didn't even play for them last year, so I don't even really consider that a loss. Yeah, it's got to be Azeez Ojulari. That's the only guy that really makes sense on the list. So, Man Cave, what you think, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet. It ain't no losses. Everybody on there ain't no loss. When you had that many losses on the season, you lose guys like that. It's good to lose guys like that because that means you wasn't doing nothing right anyway in the first place. So I don't feel bad for any of those guys going or leaving or something like that. They didn't really mean nothing anyway. So to me, there ain't no key losses. The only thing that's messed up, they could have traded Azeez Ojulari for a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick. That's the only loss to me. So, but that's all I got. Coach, you got any key losses?
No key losses. Sorry. I'm with you, Cave. So that's all I can say.
So you mean to tell me this team went 3-14 and they ain't gonna miss nobody? Nobody. Let's get to the additions. Let's see what they bought in since they ain't lose nobody according to Cave and Coach. Oh, man. Love y'all, brothers. They did do a lot of shopping, though. Bringing in Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, mentioned that in the opener. Re-signed Darius Slayton. I think that's a key signing right there because he's going to be your de facto number 2 receiver. But it's on defense where the Giants needed to get better, according to John Mara. He might have been watching a different New York Giant team, but anyway, they did do what the owner asked them to do. I will say that. Had a pretty good offseason, signing Javon Holland, Paulson, Adebo, Chauncey Golden. Those are the main ones right there. Also Ledbetter, Roy Robertson Harris to add depth to the defensive line. Yeah. I get it, guys. They did bring in some cats. But we gotta see what these cats do out on the field, right? Right. But who do y'all have as the key addition for the Giants? I went with Paulson Adebo because he's probably going to be your number 1 cornerback. Well, ain't no probably, he is. So, got your number 1 corner. Way to go, Joe Shane. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's definitely, I believe, Paulson Adebo. If you could be that number 1 corner for this Giants team, you know what I'm saying, help out that vicious pass rush that we have, you know, with Thibodeau and Brian Burns and the guy we're going to talk about here in the future. Yeah, it's going to have to be Paulson Adebo, man. He's going to have to take up the slack that Deonte Banks couldn't take up last year playing all those number 1 receivers. And we play some pretty good receivers this year too. So Paulson Adebo is going to have to be that guy that has to be the key addition to this team, you know, because if that secondary could play up to par with that front edge rush, you know, we got a defense on our hands for sure. As bad as our offense is, our defense can bail us out if they're playing at a high level. And Paulson Adebo is going to have to be the key to that secondary. But Cave, who you got, brother?
Hey, I'm agreeing with you, man. I'm going with that back end, man. I'm going with Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, the safety. So those are 2 key additions that we desperately needed, you know, since Jason Pinnock is gone. But to me, Javon Holland's an upgrade. And also Paulson Adebo coming over to become the CB1 and move Deonte Banks to CB2. That's another upgrade, you know. So those guys, like I said, like how Shane Bowen said, he wants some hunters out there. So hey, if the defensive front can do their job up front, which I know they will, which I think they will, hey, these guys could be out there getting a lot of turnovers and interceptions and things like that, and getting that ball back over to the offense and stuff like that. But yeah, those are the key additions for us, man, to help that defensive front. If you got some guys in the back that can play defense back there, you know, and give them some time to get up there to get that pass rush, that's what we need, man. And like I said, Javon Holland would be a great mentor for Tyler Nubin And also Paulson Debo would be a great mentor for Deontay Banks. 2 things that we needed. So that helps right there. So those are my 2 key additions for the New York Giants. But Coach, who do you got?
Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate you, man. Very simple, Russell Wilson. And it's not even for the production per se on the field. It's the leadership aspect. And I'm even going to go as far as complete leadership, because we as Giants fans have complained about leadership even coming from the head coaching position. This man knows what it takes to be a leader of men. He's done it time and time again. You can complain about, his height, his size, some mistakes he's made on the field. He's not as what he used to be. That's all true to a certain extent, but he's still a leader. He's a proven leader. And you're hearing it time and time again when people talk about him in the Giants locker room. You don't have guys worrying and talking about, oh, is he out here for this or for that? Is it about his wife? No. He's here. He's getting the guys together, and he's being a leader. And this is what this organization has been lacking during this past time under Brian Dable as the head coach. Russell Wilson is a leader of men. Over to you, NYG.
Russell Wilson is a leader of men, and he is the leader right now until this guy takes over, and that is Jackson Dart. As we getting into the draft picks, Jackson Dart, Giants made a trade up in the first round to draft Jackson Dart. Yeah, I messed y'all up. Y'all thought I was going to put Abdul Carter. Man, we already know what Abdul Carter going to do. The important draft pick is this guy. It's this guy, 150%. Because everybody's job's riding on Jackson Dart. If Jackson Dart is good, Brian Dable, Joe Shane, they're probably safe. If Jackson Dart stinks, everybody getting fired. So he is the most important piece. Looking at the rest of the draft, though, I got to give my Giants credit with this one, man. This was a home run. Every single pick, damn near. Corey Black, not too familiar. We'll see. But Fadone, we talked to him at the Senior Bowl, talked to Bo. Scatterbo was one of my top 5 fits for the Giants. Darius Alexander, another stud who we talked to at the draft. And enough said about Abdul Carter. And Jackson Dart, we just going to have to wait and see. Cross your fingers, Giants fans. Cross your fingers, Joe Shane and Brian Dable. Who y'all got, man? Who was your favorite pick out of the New York Giants? Jackson Dart's not my favorite. My favorite is Cam Scatterbo. But Jackson Dart is the most important. Take it away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Jackson Dart is the most important, but the most impactful to start is going to be Abdul Darth Carter. They're going to need him to be the most impactful out of this draft because you got Russell Wilson. So Jackson Dart has a chance to sit and learn. But as far as impact, it's going to be Abdul Carter. He's going to be that guy that can play over the middle, that can be that edge rusher coming off the edge. And he can just be the guy that you just have to focus on and be scared of this defense. And if he's playing at a high level, if Dex is playing at a high level, if Thibodeau and Burns are playing at a high level, this defense can make some noise, man. This defense can get after it. With Bobby O and McFadden behind those guys, and if Paulson Adebo is a legit number one, you got a defense that can compete with any team out there. You got a defense that can compete with any team. That offense is another story. But, Cave, talk to him. Who's your favorite draft pick?
Yeah, my favorite draft pick, of course, is Abdul Carter, but I'm going to go with Darius Alexander, and 3rd round pick. Like I said, if he could turn out to be the guy that Dexter Lawrence finally have a mate, like he had with, what is his name? Larry. I'm like going blank right now, but if he could finally have a mate that could, play alongside him on that line to keep that line intact.
Williams, man.
Leonard Williams. I know.
Yeah.
I like saying Larry something, but it's Leonard Williams. But yeah, if you get somebody like Leonard Williams, somebody that can stop the run, that's our most important thing. As I said, we got the pass rushers, but if we got somebody that can stop that run and put the Giants in a pass rusher situation, that'll be great and elite, man. And Darius Alexander, if he could develop some pass rushing, because I think got some pass rushing too. So now, I want to see that too, So then that's a guy that's going to get me excited and stuff like that. If he could come in and start and be alongside Dexter Lawrence. So, but I'm gonna turn over to the coach and see who's his most impactful player is. And there's that, talking to Darius Alexander.
And thanks, Cave. I'm with you, NYG, but not about Jackson Dart, about Cam Scapel. I've always said it. What helps the defense, what helps the offense is an effective and an efficient running game. And he's that type of running back. He can press the blocks when the offensive linemen are riding their blocks, and he can cut back off of that block right into the crease and explode right through that crease and get to the second and third level. Also, he will dip his shoulder into any defender. Doesn't care if you're 350 pounds, he's going to dip his shoulder into you and put you on your hind parts. He has the mental fortitude. He has the attitude. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can give you everything you're looking for in a running back. They can develop his blocking a little bit more. I think he can be that complete running back. And him and Tracy together can make this what we have always been used to. A run-centered offense, explosive plays down the field in the passing game, and keep the defense off the field to allow them to come out and be fresh and do what they need to do. That's who I think is the most impactful out of this rookie class, Cam Scapel. Back to you, NYG.
Yeah, I don't think you could really go wrong with any of the Giants draft picks, to be honest with you, man. This was a solid draft for Joe Shane and company. But is it a solid team? Is it a solid team? We got to break this thing down. We got to break down our New York Giants, y'all. Couple things make me nervous here. One of them is the D tackle position. I believe they got Nunez Roches. I'm mispronouncing that. Anyway, Nacho, as they call him, at the starting spot. Alexander is a rookie. You haven't seen much out of DJ Davidson or Jordan Riley. So, a little worried there. I'm a little worried in the interior as far as the linebackers are concerned. Bobby O coming off an injury. Michael McFadden don't tackle well. We talking about run defense, y'all. That's why I'm concerned about those two positions. Offensively, I don't know. They might be an Andrew Thomas injury away from another situation on the offensive line. Again, everybody has hopes for Theo Johnson, but they got to show it on the field. I feel comfortable with Russell Wilson now. Darius Slayton's going to do what Darius Slayton does, and Malik Neighbors is just an animal. So I think they can do all right on offense. Defense, you're going to get the opportunity to rush the passer, but you got to earn that opportunity. And that's by stopping the run, and that's what worries me about this defense. But if they can do that, you are probably looking at a top 10 defense because it's not just the pass rushers. Remember, they got Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland on the back end. Your number two, you got a battle with Banks and Flott. So I do think one of them could shake out. Drew Phillips is good in the slot. My concern is the run defense, and it's that D tackle spot. and it's them 2 interior linebackers. My concern on offense is depth on the offensive line, and I don't know why Wanda Robinson is still on my team, but y'all take it away.
All right. Okay, talk about this
All
offense,
right.
man.
For the offense, well, I guess one of the main things for this season will be finally Mike Kafka will be calling the play, so that should be a good thing for Giants fans this season to see if we're gonna have this vertical game going forward this year, because the Giants haven't had a vertical game within the last couple of seasons. So we can see we got the horses for it. We got Malik Neighbors, you got Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyde. If you know what I'm saying, it depends on how he plays this season and how they call plays and stuff like that. Wandale Robinson got speed. We got speed on a receiver position, so that's not a problem. Our whole thing is the tight ends, with Kafka calling the plays, is Theo Johnson going to be involved, Daniel Bellinger going to be involved. We're going to get the tight end more involved. We want to see with this, they're going to open up this offense. If the playbook is going to be open, because the last couple of seasons the playbook been closed. We need this playbook open. So to stretch out this this offense to develop these guys, see what we got. But the main thing is going to be that offensive line. Can Evan Neal, can he win that starting position from Van Roten? Can he win that spot? And I think he should be able to win that spot. If he plays better as a guard than as a tackle, go ahead and get that spot, because if he wins that spot, that solidifies our line with Illuminor, Neal, John Michael Schmitz, as well as Andrew Thomas and John Runyon Jr. But like I said, Andrew Thomas, we already know what Andrew Thomas is. You know what I'm saying? He's a stalwart. Like I said, if he just stay healthy, we good. We're not worried about Andrew Thomas. He's the least of our worries. Now, John Michael Schmitz on that offensive line, he got to come to play this season. I mean, his season, right, like I said, he's under pressure this season to see if he's going to perform with that offensive line, because he's very important with the offensive line in the center. If he can pass block and as well as be good in the run game, hey, we have a good season, man. You know what I'm saying? So everything starts from that offensive line. If they could protect and they could pass block and as well as run block, we should be good. We got the horses, we got Neighbors, we got Wandale Robinson, we got Slayton. And like I said, the running back, Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Cam Scatterbo. So, man, I'm excited about this offense going into the season, man. With Mike Kafka calling the plays. So that's a big thing for me. But, Pat, what you see on the defensive side?
Well, you're more excited about this offense than I am. But the thing I'm excited about with this team is the defense. The defense, man, we got some things going with, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Bobby Okereke coming off of injury. He's back healthy. Micah McFadden, even though he misses tackles, if he could just make tackles, he could be a pretty doggone good linebacker in this league. And that's a fact. So we got Paulson Adebo, Banks or Flott at the 2, Drew Phillips solid at the nickel, Javon Hollins at the safety with Tyler Nubin. Yeah. I think this defense could be legit. And the only thing I'm scared about this defense is stopping the run. Who's going to hold that edge? Because Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, they are really not edge holders. So Chauncey Golston against those running teams, he's going to have to get a lot more clock. So who do you take off the field? I know there's a point in time that you're not going to want to take Abdul Carter off the field at all. So is Thibodeau going to get some snaps taken away from him a little bit, or is Brian Burns going to get a couple of snaps taken? We'll see. And yes, the defensive tackle position is in flux. I do agree with NYG on that. Who's going to be at the defensive tackle? Because if you got Nunez Roches as your number 2, that means everybody behind them is not up to par, and that's the guy that you trust the most. I think he should be off the team, to be honest with you, because I think Ledbetter is better. I think Roy Robertson Harris is better. I think Chauncey Golston is better. I like Elijah Chapman better. I like Elijah Garcia better. Riley Jordan and DJ Davidson, they can go too. And we got Darius Alexander. So, yeah, I like the way this defense is shaping out, and we can put that third safety in the box to help out with that run game a little bit. But, Coach, let's talk about the coaching, brother. What do you think about this coaching going forward?
All right, Pat. NYG, Man Cave, fans, very simple. I'm not even going to get into the other coordinators, position coaches, or anything. This is all about Brian Dable. Now, I've always been very critical of him after his first season because of the antics, how he handles things as the CEO of this organization. He's the face of this organization, hands down. You need to go out there and manage this team properly. You need to coach your coaches up and allow them to coach. You don't have to be calling the plays all the time. Allow Kafka to do that. If something goes wrong, let him fix it. You just manage, tell them what you're looking for, and move forward from there. Get on the same page with your quarterbacks. Let them know what your expectations are going forward. And the biggest thing, dealing with the media. Stop being so defensive. Because ultimately, what the media is, they're talking to us, the fans. They're an extension of us. And if you are agitated, defensive, that's what you're saying to us as the fans. And we don't want to hear that. So, Brian Dable, you've been here long enough. You're a veteran coach. You've coached under some elite coaches. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. You know how to coach. You come from a long line of coaches. Media relations is part of being a head coach in the NFL. Handle it better. And if everything falls on you, that's all I have to say from there. Over to you, NYG.
Yeah, it is on Dable, and he got his work cut out for him. Because when you look at this schedule, they have the number one strength of schedule in the NFL. That is not the end-all, be-all, folks. But you just look at the teams they playing. I mean, you tell me. 5.5. That's where they got the Giants at. 5.5. Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, the Chargers, New Orleans, Philly, Denver, Philly again, San Francisco. Woo! Chicago. I don't even know if you can breathe there. Green Bay, Detroit. No. New England, maybe. Bye week, Washington, Minnesota, Vegas, Dallas. Ouch. That's rough. 5.5, though. Can the Giants squeeze 6 wins out of this schedule? That's what they need to get the over. I'm skeptical, but I mean, they won 3 games last year. At some point, you gotta show something. 5.5, though. Can they get that? Talk to me.
Just looking at this schedule here, I'll tell you the only way they get to 5.5 is if this defense is balling. I will say that. So let's just say the defense is balling. I do believe you can get Washington once. I do believe you can get Dallas once, but I can't even give you that because you've been getting swept by Dallas for like the past, 4 or 5 years? So you can't say they can win against Dallas till they actually do it. That Kansas City game, if your defense is playing up to par and you're getting after Patrick Mahomes, that could be a surprise game for them. The Chargers, the same thing. If you stop their running game, I think you got a good chance of at least competing with the Chargers. The Saints, you can beat them. Philly, I think Philly stomps you twice. And Denver plays just like Philly, so I think you get stomped by them. San Francisco, I give you a chance. The Bears, I give you a chance. The Packers, I give you a chance. Detroit, I don't give you a chance against them because the way they run the ball. They get to the outside with the best of them. And if you can't hold the edge against Detroit, they're going to run up the score. New England, I'll give you a chance to beat them. And I give you a chance against Las Vegas. I also give you a chance against the Minnesota Vikings because if J.J. McCarthy is not what he's supposed to be, you can beat them too. I'm gonna go over just because I'm a Giants fan and I believe in this defense that much. I believe this defense could keep you in some games, and Russell Wilson being the quarterback that he is, if you have the chance to pull it out, more times than not, he does it. So maybe 6, 7, between that 6 to 8 range. But if 6 games gives you the over, I'll give you the over at 6.
What you got, Cave?
Yeah. I know Vegas is usually right. They were right last year, but this time they're going to be wrong this year. Giants getting over 5 wins. So I'm going with Pat. I'm going with 6, at least 6
over
wins.
5 over 5.5?
Over 5.5. They getting 6 wins, 6 or 7 wins. I look at some of them games. Yeah, I see some of them. It is a tough schedule. It is a tough gauntlet. But like I said, like Pat said, if that defense is balling, because a lot of games in the NFL is only one. I mean, lost by 1 score. Most of it is a 1-score game or sometimes a 2-score. Depends if you get mollywopped. But Giants was in a lot of games. Even when the Giants had some bad season, they was in a lot of games. They just lost by 1-score games. So if the offense can do anything, if the offense could just do anything, give us some points, we can win some of those games. Because the defense is solid enough to keep us in a lot of these games. You know, so that's what I'm going off of. So I'm good to go with the over 5.5. Coach, how do you feel?
Over, and everything. I got you guys in terms of the defense, but I'm more so about the offensive line. If this offensive line can allow us to run the football and protect Russell Wilson or whoever's at quarterback, it's going to go do wonders for this team. If the offensive line allows us to run, the defense can rest. I said it earlier. Russell Wilson, if you give him time, what's one of his greatest strengths? That deep ball to the outside. Well, you have some receivers who can get downfield and catch the ball on the outside. So if he's afforded the time to do that, then it opens up this whole offense, because teams are then going to have to play sometimes, if not more than enough, 2 safeties back, which will then take an extra player out of the box, which then allows you to run the game, run the football. And that also allows the defense to rest, because just like Pat said, if the defense can come out there and we can get good defensive tackle play and stop the rush, we have the pass rushers to get after the quarterback. So this works hand in hand on all phases. But it starts for me with the offensive line. The offensive line does their job, and God forbid we don't have any significant injuries. This can be a different team. So I'll go with the 6 games, 7 games pushing it, and the over. Back to you, NYG.
I wanted one of you guys to take the under, but I have to agree. Here's where it's at. New Orleans, Chicago, New England, Vegas. That's 4. You get 2 in your division. That's 6. It's going to be tough, though. Don't get it twisted. It's going to be tough, because the problem with the Giants is they're not built right for their division. And those teams are just going to run on you. And we all seem to be a bit concerned about this run defense. We all saying if they stop the run. I'm not saying it. I'm saying I don't think they are. Not consistently. But some of the teams with poor quarterback play, where you can kind of load the box a little bit, they'll get those teams, because the defense will be good. I just don't think it'll be that good against the run. I think they'll have a lot of high turnovers, high sacks, probably put the offense in some decent positions. Russell Wilson can make a couple of plays out there. We'll see. But I'm going to go with the over, and this is going to conclude our NFC East preview. Quick thoughts on the NFC East before we wrap up, fellas. I think it is Phillies, obviously, but I will say this. Now that I took a closer look at that Washington defense, I don't know now. I'm not even gonna stamp them as the second, like they automatically gonna be that second team to challenge Philadelphia. It's not guaranteed. This Giants team can get hot, the Cowboys can get hot, and you'll see Washington in the rear. It's not just said cut and dry like the media making out to be. That's my take on the NFC East. Because now that we looked at all the teams, I think Philly clearly. But better these than other the three teams, it could go either way. It could go
either way.
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you.
I ain't gonna.
I'll tell you, the Giants.
Because Cowboys they ain't all that. Neither is Washington.
If they can stop that run,
right,
I think they'll be a lot better than we're giving them credit for. But until they can do that, I can't, just be like, oh, the Giants are going to. No, you got to stop the run first because
I still think they only get 2 in a division. But
yeah, me too. But if they stop Washington's run, it could be a problem for Washington because I think our offense matches up pretty good against their defense. That's the key. Who can stop the run? That's the key with Washington. That's the key with Dallas too. Who can stop the run? Because the Eagles for damn sure could do it. And they can run the ball against. That's why I think they mow through the division, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
maybe they lose one to Washington. Maybe. But go ahead, Kay.
I think our whole thing is the offense. I mean, like I said, the offense got to stay on the field. That's the whole key. You got to keep the defense fresh. If you keep the defense fresh, we're going to be in a lot of games. But if you can't keep them fresh, that's how we be falling behind these games, man. We got to stop that. They got to do something on the offensive side. Got to move that ball. Got to score some points. That's the whole key. Because our defense can play with any defense in NFL. Any defense in NFL, we can play with any of these other teams. It's just our offense. We got to score some points, move the ball on these teams, and stuff like that, man. That's all we got to do, man. So that's why I'm saying I'm more worried about the offensive side of the ball this year to see what they're going to do, how they're going to, with Mike Kafka calling the plays. And we need some vertical threats downfield.
What you got, Coach?
The Giants will end up in the 3rd spot. Dallas. Everyone talks about Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Are you getting the Pickens who is temperamental, who has an attitude problem, who's disruptive?
It's going to be even worse over there.
That's the problem. That's going to be the whole thing because that's why I said what I said at first as far as a receiver. Because if George Pickens ran himself out of Pittsburgh playing for one of the top coaches in the league, and now you're going to a rookie coach. You don't think he's going to cause problems over there, possibly? And if things don't go his way, he's going to be on the sideline sulking or whatever. So that's why I think Dallas might, more than likely, is going to end up in the 4th spot, and the Giants will end up in the 5th spot. Washington will be in the 2nd spot, yes. And Philly, they're probably going to, I said it earlier, is it possible they could go for the record? We'll see.
Yeah. But that is going to conclude our NFC East preview and our preview shows all together. We did it, y'all. All 32 teams.
Man,
that's what we do.
Crazy.
This is the Aboriginal Sports Network. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Catch us on social media platforms. We on TikTok, we on Instagram, we on Facebook, we on Twitter, we on everywhere. And we got a website, aboriginalsportsnetwork.com. But that being said, I'm going to get up on out of here. I'm Unpopular Opinion Sports with my co-host, Big Pat Sports Talk, Coach Ed Gladney, and the Man Cave, a.k.a. S. God. We are part of the Aboriginal Sports Network. And until next time, man, we up out of here. Peace.